You told me you feel cool without him around. Lend me your heart, I'll fix the pain. Lend me your heart, I'll take the blame. So just forget the past. We don't need to go back to what we used to be. You know that this pain it won't last. So just forget the past. It reminds us how we used to be. Cause this is how we used to be.
Hey,
Hey, buddy. We're
what
back.
what's okay? What's going on? What's going on with the light?
What do you mean, what's going on with the light? It's from Atlantis.
And you changed your shirt too. I like the other shirt better.
I don't go on paranormal podcasts in a bright blue Superman t-shirt. I dress in my black garms. Everyone knows this.
Well, okay. I preferred the other shirt
Well, I don't care.
because you are a super guy.
It is all, thank you. But it's also incredibly warm in the flat. I've got the door open over there as well, so sleeveless.
Oh, you know what? I have the air conditioning going on or the central air going on, and it's still humid in here.
Yeah.
It's very warm here today. I think it's close to 40 with the humidex, and it's very very warm. Lex is showing the guns today. Yes, Lex is showing the guns today.
With my guns of nothing. Flabby chicken wings.
I love it. It's awesome. I'm not sure about the whole necklace thing though. That's throwing me off a little bit.
It's an Atlantean crystal.
Which
Very rare.
so are you able to turn it off and turn it on?
Well, it's not on
Because it
now,
was
is it?
really blue a few minutes ago, and now it's nothing.
It turns on when someone talks shit. That's a really fun thing.
Oh,
So
okay. So before we came on the air, we were talking shit. Is that what you're saying, or what?
no, just saying that it would detect when you're chatting shit. So if it lights up, you know someone is talking shit. Oh, there
So
it is, me.
yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's great. So we're back.
We are back.
Yeah, it's not something we announced that we were doing. We just did it.
No, we just fucked off for a month. We're like, yeah, we are out.
We didn't tell anybody what we were doing. We just said, you know what, we're leaving.
I
We're
think
leaving this for a month. And let me
did,
just turn this on.
did we
And
did we do a rant the last time we was on? Was that the last time we were on when we had a rant at the beginning? Because that would have been a good time to just disappear for 3 weeks, wouldn't it?
no, I think when the last show we did, or you weren't even there.
No, I wasn't. Was I? No, I was.
You weren't here for a couple of weeks, even before we decided to take the time
Mm-hmm.
off. The last show that I did, I think it was with Matt.
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with Matt, and if you're not, then you must be living under a rock because Matt Barron, the paranormal consultant, you can go over to his
Yeah.
Facebook, and he's you know what? One thing I like about Matt is he's definitely always available if you're in a tough spot or if a guest has ended up canceling. He's more than happy to come up on every single live that you do.
I mean, the benefit of him doing our ones is because when he started doing questions on his, he stole our questions anyway. So he knew what to do when he
Yes,
came here.
yes, and I was watching. Yes, and I was watching a show the other night with him, and he asked that question at the end. Your question. Of course, he doesn't spin it in the way that you do,
Well, no, 'cause
but
if he did, that'd be a copyright sort of thing. I own that, by the way. So he can. The other questions are fine, but that one,
yeah,
mine.
yeah. So my question to you is, what have you been up to for the last month?
SFA. Sweet fuck all. I've been at work. I've been all the bills in the UK. The prices have increased like ridiculous amounts. Like my electric
Yeah.
bill was double what it used to be, and I'm never home. So the fact that I had to pay 400 quid this month is
400?
yeah. So it works out. So I only pay that bill every 3 months, but it's now like nearing 400 a month. 400 every 3 months I'm paying from my gas
Oh, okay. So you do it every quarter.
every quarter. So, but the annoying thing is like I don't understand the rate because I'm never home because I work 50, 60 hours a week, and then when I come home, I don't turn the lights on because there's no point. So it's weird. Like
Well,
today's the
it's
first day I've got lights on.
yeah. Well, it's funny because I was looking at the bill the other day for this place, and they do it every month. It's not every 3 months. It's every month. But what I'm always surprised about, or I'm always baffled about, is how they come up with the total.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I'm always baffled about is why am I spending $53 on just to get the service every month?
Weird,
It's
isn't it?
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I rarely use the stove. Rarely. But there's a charge on it. And
It's weird. Like with my gas bill, the only thing that's gas in my place is my oven, and I don't use it. And I still had to. I think it's 120. I had to pay for that.
yeah, it's weird. It's almost like somebody's stealing it from next door.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
Somebody's stealing your gas. Not only your internet, but they're stealing your gas. So, well, we have a great show today. We have two girls. They're actually a group of three. And they're called the Tipsy Ghost. If you guys are interested in following these girls, I did leave links below in the description. And you can go, they do have a website, their YouTube channel. They do a podcast. They have lots of podcasts on their YouTube channel. So before we get to meet them and do what we do every single week, except for the last month, get to know these girls so you guys can go over and follow them and check them out, whether they're I believe one of their links is Spotify. I believe they are on Spotify, but we'll ask them all that when they come up. So with me, I got to meet somebody that you know last week.
You did, yes.
Yes, I did. I got to meet Dom from 13 Spirits Paranormal.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you see somebody online or you talk to them on the phone and stuff like that, like he's a pretty funny guy, but actually seeing him in person and able to talk to him and get to know him, he's actually a really, really funny guy. He really is. And it was a lot of fun doing a couple investigations with him. Unfortunately, we were going to do a third one. That didn't happen. The night we were supposed to go out, he supposedly fell asleep. So, and I wanted to hit that graveyard because it has 2.2 million people buried in it. Wow. And there's some pretty famous people in that graveyard as well. What's his name? The singer, the older singer. He's from actually Montreal. Leonard Cohen? Leonard Cohen, I believe his name is.
I wouldn't.
Anyways, he's a pretty famous singer here in Canada. Obviously, he died quite a few years ago, but he's buried in there, and I was surprised to hear about that. But Dom was telling me, and that's why I wanted to go because he says it's pretty haunted. Now, me and you both, I think, are on the same page when it comes to graveyards. I think graveyards can be a hit or miss kind of type of thing, and I find most of the time the graveyards are a miss. But with that many people in there, buried in there, and some pretty famous people in there, it would have been a great video. But we ended up doing a pool, and we ended up doing what used to be a castle. What's it? Well, it's funny because I said, well, let's go in the pool. I can't even call it. Well, it's more like a cesspool than a pool because there were all kinds of crap at the bottom of that pool. There had to be something living in that pool. So I said, well, let's go in the pool, and whoever gets, attacked first then loses. So, but no, that was a great time. But Montreal was a lot of fun. I was there for 3 days, and it was definitely a lot of fun. So, other than the global ghost hunt going on and Parapost is growing, for people that are new in the room, if you're interested, you can go over to Parapost Network, the app, download it through iOS or Android. And it's an app for paranormal investigators, everything under the umbrella. So if you haven't heard about it, just go over to iOS and Android and download it. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. I'm the only one that's paying something.
The joys of being the owner, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm the only one that's paying. But obviously with the Global Ghost Hunt, some teams are joining. So if you want to join up with the Global Ghost Hunt, now is the time because those spots are going to be taken quickly. So for next year, for next May or October, if you decide you wanted to join for October. So why don't we get to the girls? You want to introduce them, or you want me to?
You do it. You know.
Why don't you never do it? Why don't you do it?
Because this is my I'm in the same boat as our audience, so I get to meet them for the first time as well. So
Yeah, this is true. So I think I met Sarah.
which one?
I think I messaged her on Insta. Well, I'm going to say Sarah 1 and Sarah 2. I think that's going to be the best way to do it. So Sarah 2, who's on the right, I think I met her through Instagram, if memory serves me correct. I messaged her because I know they had a podcast, and I was interested in them coming up onto Parapost Network Central. They are on Parapost Network Central. They have done a live video, so you can go check that out. You'll have to scroll down a little bit to see it, but you will see it. They did, I think they did a walkthrough on the investigation they were doing. So, so they came over to Parapost Network Central, and me and Sarah have spoken every so often. I was trying to get these girls on last month, but they got busy, and like everyone else in this world, everybody gets busy. So I said, why not? They suggested August. I said, well, we're coming back in August, so why not have them for the first show of us back? So let me introduce you. Now, I will let you guys know there's Sarah 1 and Sarah 2. So there are two Sarahs. Unfortunately, the third member of the team is working, and she couldn't be on today's show. So hopefully she's going to watch, or hopefully she's watching right now. So let me introduce you to Sarah 1, Sarah 2, the Tipsy Ghost.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Good.
Now, am I right? I think I did meet you on Instagram, right?
Yeah, that was me. I just
That
don't know if
one.
I'm 1 or 2.
You're 2.
Okay. Then yeah,
You're
you
2,
met me.
so-
I spoke with you on all the social media.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for coming on today's show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for
I
having us.
know you girls are extremely busy, doing something, always doing something. You've got a lot of. You know what? I'd like people to go over to your YouTube channel, because you have a lot of podcasts on there. I was listening to a couple of them yesterday, and they were good. I enjoyed them, and so I definitely want people to go over that. Also, you girls do have a website that people can go over and check out, because you do have videos, and I believe some of your podcasts on there as well. Now, what's podcast streaming are you with? Are you just with Spotify?
So we stream from Anchor, but we're on just about everything that you can find a podcast on, honestly. Apple Music, Spotify, the list goes on. Anything.
Yeah. Wherever you, I have a friend that always says, and you know Lex, you know David from Our Haunted Lives, he always says at the beginning of the show, wherever you steal your podcast from.
That's right.
True though.
Is that true? I don't even know if
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's funny.
I think
So,
so. Yeah, some
But-
of these apps I haven't heard of much, but like people really love them, and we stream through pretty much all of them. But then if you don't have any of those, we have our podcasts all listed on our website and also through YouTube. So I feel like there's something for everybody.
yeah, definitely. Well, again, thank you for coming on today's show. And
Yeah.
Lex, if you want to get started, we'll get started on the show.
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to ignore the first question that we usually do, just to have a small minor question first. How did you guys come up with the name? Because I keep laughing at it every time I see it.
Thank you
Good.
for laughing.
Yeah.
So it was actually, it's our second name option. We wanted booze and booze because alcohol
Oh, yeah.
and ghosts, but
Yeah.
I'm seeing
that was
a
already
theme.
it was already taken.
Yeah.
So
Oh, really?
Yes,
was, yeah.
surprisingly.
Wow,
I
that's
know.
funny.
And
But
so
that's okay because I think I like ours better.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's
so,
unique. So we're almost always tipsy, and we love ghosts. So it's the Tipsy Ghost.
yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a friend. She has a podcast, and it's called Puff Ghost, I believe it's called.
Instead of
And
Puff,
she,
Puff, yeah. Mhm.
for obvious reasons, she
Yeah.
likes to smoke a little bit of marijuana every once in a while,
Sure,
and she
sure.
likes the ghosts. So I
You know
think
what?
it's
Gotta loop them all in. It's fine. Usually when we're recording, we have a couple of drinks, so we're tipsy talking about our experiences. So that's kind of how we
Red or white?
landed on the name.
Red or white?
It's funny.
It depends. Mostly actually hard alcohol, but I'm a white fan.
Yeah, our ghost is in a wine glass, but you know, we do whatever we want. We have sometimes shots at the beginning, sometimes a glass of wine. You just never know.
I've turned into quite the barista.
Yes,
I
that's
have
true.
I have way too much alcohol, and so just before we started, I made us a layered shot. It's red, white, and blue. You can say it's for America or it's for red, white, and blue, just if you like the colors.
Yeah.
And it's layered, like one's red, one's clear, and one's blue. And I was very proud of myself for
She's
being able
bartender.
to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, we always record at her house. She doesn't have children here, so it's much easier to cut the background noise out. And every time we come over, they've just got like a huge selection of liquor or anything you want. So we usually have 1 to 2 before we start. Probably 2.
Yeah, I
can't
think
wait
that
to
pretty
try
well
this, Bryan.
answers that question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows now. So
Sorry.
so you're a little bit tipsy when you do your podcast, which is great. I
We
think
might
it's
be.
awesome.
Yeah, we might be. We don't hide anything in our title.
No.
No. I'm going to do that next time, Bryan. I think I've got a whole shelf up there that I could just use.
There you go.
So I'll get,
It
give a
requires quite a bit of editing, I'll tell you that much though.
It really does.
So before we really jump into this, I want everybody to know that's in the room. We will be showing some clips today of their previous investigations. So if you want to stick around, we'll do that sometime during the show, probably halfway in the show. So I saw some of those clips today. Well, I watched all of them, but there were 2 that really, really stood out to me that was going, wow, holy crap. So you're definitely going to want to wait around and watch those clips for sure. So you want to go with the next question, or do you want me to do it since you asked the tipsy? And it's funny because I knew that question was going to come up during this interview, and I figured it was going to be Lex that was going to ask it. I wasn't going to ask it only because I kind of knew what it meant. So
I had a theory. I just wanted to make sure the theory was correct.
I mean, if you've heard our episodes, you can probably figure it out pretty easily.
So was
Yeah,
was it correct though?
Yeah, was your theory
Were you
correct?
right?
Oh,
You're right.
definitely, yeah, definitely. 2 free alcoholics on a podcast. It's amazing.
That's a strong word.
I'm one. It's fine.
That's why we said tipsy. Okay, we're just like tiptoeing into that.
Oh, that's hilarious. So I knew it was going to come up. I just knew.
Okay.
And
I mean,
I
we're
think
asking for it with that.
it's funny because I think when we first started talking, I think I asked you where the name came from. And I
Yeah.
think that's why I kind of knew. But I figured I would let Lex ask because I knew it was going to come up. So we're going to start with the typical question. How did you, we'll start with Sarah 1. And Sarah 1 is in the blue.
Okay. I already forgot. I'm 2. All right. I got it on my hand now.
One.
Oh,
Always
okay.
number 1.
Thank you for clarifying.
So
Now I know.
what is your origin story? How did you get into the paranormal?
I've always been fascinated, but when I was 7, 8 years old, I was living in a house in Florida, and I woke up one night in the middle of the night to a white ghostly figure standing above my bed. And I was just really intrigued. Like it scared me, but I was also like, oh, that's kind of cool. And so I told my mom about it the next day, and she opened my eyes to like, yeah, I mean, there's ghosts, there's spirits. She tried to put a Christian spin on it, but I think ultimately she was like, there is an alternate plane or level that we can't necessarily see. And she's like, I think you saw one, and that's very exciting. I think she probably wishes I was one of those kids that had this imaginary friend and was like her little link to the afterlife, which I wasn't. I just happened to see it that one time, but I was hooked since then. And I would always love to watch, unsolved mysteries and any ghost shows. I'm 33 now, but years and years ago, they weren't as prevalent as they are now. And so whenever we could see anything like that, we were very excited to know that there were people kind of like us that are just very interested in things that you can't necessarily see or feel, something that's not tangible, but that you believe in. And so I've just kept it with me. I mean, I can see it to this day, this figure that was just standing over my bed. And I woke up and I looked at it, and it had a face. It was a female in this like old timey white dress, had a face. And she, after I woke up, lasted for about probably 30 seconds as I stared at her kind of in awe. And then she just dissipated. And I've just been interested ever since. I've always had kind of these eerie feelings, like, you know, some kids are afraid of the dark, but I was afraid of certain darknesses. Like I would, like if I was in a house that I wasn't familiar with, or a house that kind of gave me the creeps, I wouldn't be comfortable with their darkness. But there are other houses like my own or my friends' houses that I was like, oh, I mean, okay, I can do this darkness. And it was just always that feeling of there's something not totally comfortable here.
Interesting. And I'm curious to know, was there any resolution? Did you know who she was? Was it somebody who was in the house previous to you living there, or what was the story behind that, or do you know?
So it's interesting. I today feel like it might have been a spirit guide or some angel with me, because within 30 days, we had just newly moved to that house. And so there were still like a bunch of albums out and about. And I was looking through a few, and I was like, oh, that's the lady that I saw standing above my bed. And my mom's like, oh, that's your great great aunt. So nobody that was alive as whenever I was alive. So that's why I think it's somebody related to me, kind of looking out for me maybe. So that's the only resolution I've really been able to find. But I also have never seen her since. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, so this is what makes this industry so appealing, isn't it? That we never get to the bottom of all the answers for the one
Right.
thing. I still have no idea about mine. So my first one, and I think that's one of the, if you put it this way, if you were given the answer straight away, like who she was, do you think you would have delved into this world as much as you have?
No,
No,
absolutely not.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of this industry, is that because we don't know, it forces our hand to do something as incredible as this.
Absolutely. It's like you're almost searching and searching and searching, and that search with never having any true answers keeps you in the field and searching so much longer.
Interesting. Very interesting. And Sarah, too?
I know I held it on my hand, so I remember it. So for me, it was kind of similar, I suppose. Like I grew up with all the horror movies. I loved all those. They never terrified me. I just loved them. Like I genuinely found them interesting. Liked to be scared. Liked to go to haunted houses. Liked all those things. But I never really considered paranormal stuff until I was an adult. I really didn't even it didn't cross my mind. And actually, I work in a hospital. I was in a room by myself. I came out and I had what I consider my first experience also. I looked over and I saw a person. It was only for a few seconds, but it was a man, and I can still exactly remember what he looked like. He was in a suit with a hat, and he had a briefcase with him. I can exactly remember what he looks like. So I don't know if he was a physician there. The hospital that I was at is like over 100 years old. So It's very possible that this type of figure could have been there in real life a long time ago. So that, it startled me in a way, but not scared me. It just was like, I know I saw somebody there, but it wasn't scary. I don't know how else to explain that. I wasn't terrified. I just was like, what just happened? And then I wanted that to happen more. And so then I started, seeking out opportunities to go investigate. And that's how I got involved with Sarah a little bit. We did training together. That's how we knew each other initially.
Okay.
For something through work. And then we kind of bonded over this, and we started doing these paranormal investigations together. And once you start doing them, I think it's over there.
You can't.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's in our case, it's like a drug.
Yeah, kind of.
In your case, it's like alcohol.
Yes.
So once you have one, you got to keep on going.
Oh no.
Thank you very much.
Brian,
TBD.
I'm writing that one
Yeah.
down. I enjoyed that one.
We can't be the only ones.
No,
I'm sure
definitely
of
not.
it.
So yeah, it's like one of those things. Once you catch or capture your first EVP, or
Exactly. Yeah.
whether it's you're doing the SB7 or a voice recorder or even your camera, it's like I want more, and I want more. Like
Yeah.
my for me personally, and I always use this tagline. I'm really interested to know what lies beyond death. And that's what really interests me. And I know
Yeah.
Lex has his interests as well, but I think Lex had the shit scared out of him, and I think he wanted to get back at them because he got really scared, and that's why he does what he does. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, no, you're not wrong. Like, but my first experience, I saw. I won't go into the whole story. If you guys want to know it, just go on my YouTube channel. It's like my third video. I spoke
Okay.
about it.
You're kind of roughly. Your mic's kind of roughly.
How about now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all staticky. It's weird.
Hang on. It will fix itself in a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
It should do anyway. But yeah, so I was in a mental hospital.
It's not
No,
fixing
still dead.
itself. Oh,
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
we can hear you, but you're very. It's all staticky and stuff like that.
It's still staticky.
Yes. Is it
Bro, that's weird.
staticky
It
on your
doesn't-
side?
It doesn't
No.
sound staticky
No.
here.
Oh, maybe it's me. That's weird.
Well, I'm using my webcam microphone now. So if it's just you, Brian,
Is it me? Why would it be me?
You should turn on
Okay.
your Atlantis amulet.
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
probably will help.
It'll emulate. I was going to tell you we have matching outfits.
We do.
That's weird.
See?
Let me just check something right here.
And then the necklace. Mine doesn't light up, so it's not as cool. But I was
see.
noticing as you guys were talking, we are twins.
Auto adjust the microphone.
While he's adjusting that and
Yeah,
listening to my
please.
staticky voice, I'm going to tell you. I'll just quickly run down what I saw. So I was just like in a mental, broken down, a rundown mental asylum to do some urban photography when I was 17, and I didn't believe in this stuff whatsoever.
Sure.
Like, never crossed my mind. And the whole time we were there, weird things were going on, but I just kept on thinking to myself, I was like, well, that's just this, that's just this, that's just this. But towards the end of the day, I thought I was being followed by a security member on the ground above us, and he was banging on the window. So I was like, just don't turn around. If you don't see him, you can't get in trouble. And then it sounded like he jumped down behind me. So I turned around, and it was a 7, maybe 8 foot black fog with a pair of red and yellow eyes in the middle of it.
Oh.
And I've
Absolutely not.
never run so fast in my life.
That's horrifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have too.
And then because of that, I spent 10 years researching paranormal stuff before I started investigating. I was like, I'm
That'll
gonna
do it. Yeah.
dive into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you had asked Sarah one if you knew who it was, would you continue investigating? And I think I would. Even though I knew who it was, I would probably still continue. I would want to speak with that person more and more. In fact, I think that that's what's driving me more and more. Every time I go, I feel like I'm connecting more and more with a person, maybe a spirit guide, maybe somebody that is close to me. So I feel like that is what's kind of driving me more and more to go each
Yeah.
time.
Did you find that you had a lot of sightings in the hospital? Or was it
It's
just
an
one?
interesting place, right? Because there's so many people all the time that honestly, it could be people, it could be spirit, and I wouldn't know the difference. The only reason why I knew that this person was not there is because I was in a room alone. And so I came out and looked, and there was a person who I would have qualified as a totally normal person. But in the next 3 seconds, that person was gone. So that is the only reason why. But like the hospital, yeah, there's a lot of people passing there.
There is, but she's had this really cool experience where, and it's hard to talk about because HIPAA and, you know, things like that. But basically, she has seen somebody who she believes is this person outside of their body, looking at their body as she is taking care of them.
That did happen.
Which is just
yeah.
fascinating to me. And then my story, you know, I've had a few things. The coolest thing is, you know, I was in a back office and then all by myself, like totally nobody else there. And there was something on a shelf that just knocked off everything on that shelf. And that was pretty exciting to me because I was like, oh, I'm by myself and I know that that was not me.
Yeah.
And so obviously by default, that had to have been the paranormal. And yeah, Lindsay, who is our third, she is our biggest skeptic. She kind of keeps us grounded.
For sure.
We like to think really big and exciting things. And she's like, no, I mean, it could have been the wind. It
Right.
could have been, you know, somebody sneezing.
She's our fun ruiner.
She is
But we love
our
her
fun
for it.
ruiner.
Yeah.
So she happens to have worked in that same office that I was working in. And she's like, I mean, it could have been this, but she really can't give me a good explanation because I was there by myself. There was no AC on. There wasn't anything. And this entire shelf just knocked over in front of me. So I haven't actually seen anything. There's been some cool things happen with patients. Again, HIPAA kind of ruins our fun with talking about it. But the hospital is a very interesting place to work when you believe or are intrigued by the paranormal.
I just wanted to clarify, just for the chat room, HIPAA is the Protection Act between doctors and patient, right?
Correct.
Yes,
Yep.
Cool.
it
Let's make
protects
sure.
the patient's privacy. Yeah,
Yep.
so
It
even if you
prohibits
give
us
like
talking about patient interactions.
if you give the
basically.
smallest detail that could maybe give identifying information for a patient, that is against the law here.
Yep.
So
See,
we
I
avoid
could-
that.
I
Good
could
old,
never do that job.
good old states. The HIPAA
Yeah.
law.
Welcome
I
to
know
America.
about the HIPAA law. Yeah, so I tend to watch a lot of videos on. I don't know if you anybody in this room has seen any of these videos, but they're the auditors in the States. If you ever, they go out and they're protecting their First Amendment, and by being able to film in public and stuff like
Okay.
that, and they're always talking about the HIPAA laws, and it's the big issue is when somebody's filming, and if they catch something off the desk or the table,
Yeah.
because of HIPAA laws, they think they can get in trouble. When in
For
actual
sure.
fact, that's not true. What it is it's you guys that need to protect that information, and if it's out on the table, HIPAA law doesn't affect them at all. So just
Right.
a tidbit of useless information.
Can't wait to use that information, Brian.
Can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, I like watching those videos of the. You can only watch so many paranormal videos where it starts getting a little bit much, because I have a tendency to think, especially on YouTube, that people are fighting demons every single week. And it just gets a little bit annoying, and it seems to be the normal videos that are coming out now.
Right.
And we all know, and me and Lex for sure, believe that the demonic word is used way too much in this field.
Yes.
And
1000%.
So
Yeah.
statistically, for any say statistically as if there's a study, you are more like the percentage chance of you running into an actual demonic entity is lower than 1% of any activity you find. 'Cause
I believe it. Yeah.
If it was that common, there would be no questioning any of the religious beliefs, because we'd
Right.
all know it, we'd see it. So the fact that it's every YouTuber can find it, I was like, oh, okay.
it's I actually saw something. You're more likely to get hit by lightning than actually see a demonic entity, and it's your chances of getting hit by lightning are very slim. So, but anyways. But so let's getting into your podcast, and I listened to some of your podcasts yesterday. What was the inspiration of starting a podcast?
Well, to be honest, it kind of happens sporadically. As I mentioned, I kind of got into investigating paranormal older. I haven't been doing this for 20 years. It was just like the last 5 years or so, I kind of found interest in it. And Sarah and I had met through, like I mentioned, some training. And at the time she was working in an area with Lindsay, and knew that Lindsay would get along immediately with me, basically. And she was like, you need to invite Lindsay along. And I'm like, I don't know. It takes a special person to go investigating. Not everybody likes these things. But turns out she did. And even though she is the skeptic, she did enjoy it. And on the way over, we just all vibed. You could just tell, like, we were hitting it off. Like, it was just going great. And we jokingly said we should start a podcast. And then honestly, over the next few hours, it wasn't even days, we were like, well, can we do this? Well, maybe we could. I don't know. Should we? And then we just started researching and figuring out how to start it. And that's kind of just how it began. It began kind of in the beginning of COVID lockdown as a way to get together, feel normal, have fun, and it just took off from there. And then now it's something that we genuinely look forward to. This is a genuine friendship. These are my best friends. We love each other dearly. I couldn't go, more than 2 weeks without seeing these people. So it's kind of developed into this thing that we kind of rely on each other now.
It is. So we talked about this on the way to our first investigation as a trio, and that was the Sally House in Atchison, Kansas. And on the way there, we were just talking like, this Sarah and Lindsay were meshing. And of course, I knew they were going to mesh because I was friends with each of them separately. And I was like, these guys are the exact same person. I knew that it was going to be perfect. And so we go there. A couple of interesting things happen. And
It was me. I did it.
As a result of maybe not alcohol, we can't really say for sure, but it was just entertaining. And
TBD.
so on the way back, we're like, no, really, we should start this podcast. And so I feel like it was almost kind of a joke, like things people, millennials say to each other, like, oh, let's start a
Right.
podcast. But then we kept talking about it over a group text. And then we were like, okay, let's make this happen. And I think the week before lockdown happened, we
had our first
were like,
episode.
yeah, we're going to we recorded 3 episodes, I think. And then it just kept going from there. We did it from afar. And then we came back together whenever restrictions were lifted a little bit. And we just kind of, like she said, like, these are my best friends. And I don't think that we would have come together as like true best friends if it weren't for this podcast. Cause like you can hang out with people, but it's until you actually like sit down and plan a podcast and like talk about different topics and also talk about your actual views on how you view the afterlife and the paranormal and demons and angels, that you actually get to know somebody.
Or, spend overnight in a haunted area.
Or if you spend
together.
overnight in a haunted place and then one of you is maybe not possessed, it gets real after that.
These things may or may not happen. I don't know.
Lex is brewing a question.
I can see.
I'm
I can see
ready.
his
Yeah.
face. He's
Yeah.
looking. Yes, ask away. We're ready.
I'm not brewing for a question. I'm just.
Oh, okay.
Well, I am, but it's not going to come until the end.
Oh, okay. Okay. He's saving
Yeah.
it.
Oh, that's I forgot about that. This could be
I'm
good.
a little bit nervous for the end
well,
question.
you should be. You
Oh,
should
boy.
be nervous.
Okay.
But, so, with your podcast, and there's a lot of podcasts on your YouTube channel. What has been your biggest surprise with your podcast?
I think all the effort that goes into actually, our episode 1 versus episode 126 that came out yesterday, it sounds a lot different. I think Google and I have gotten to know each other very well. I go to Google to help me out as far as like sound and stuff like that. But I think there's a lot of technique and there's a lot of time and effort that goes into making podcasts and YouTube videos and things like that I don't think the normal public realizes. It's not just people sitting down to have a conversation. You actually have to have thought behind it. And I think that's been the most eye-opening experience. And then it shouldn't be that eye-opening, but the thought that people have differing opinions. So, the Sarah, Lindsay, and I all came together.
No, that's not true. Not in the
What?
paranormal world. No, not at all.
Well, that's the thing.
So
though,
hard to
like,
believe.
Lindsay is such a skeptic. Like, even from episode 1 to
Yeah.
now, she believes a lot more than she did back then. And it just blew my mind that she just had no belief in the possibility of anything paranormal. And I think it stems back to like how you're raised and
Yeah.
what your belief system is as you grow up. But it's just been baffling, the time and energy that goes into making a podcast or making any sort of episodes, and then also just the the strict difference in beliefs.
Yeah. I was going to say just the time and commitment that it takes, and you do it just out of love for the topics, and getting together with your friends. That's truly it. It's not like you're getting paid thousands of dollars every time you release an episode. So for us, it was about,
I wish.
I know, right? Well, we aren't, at least. So I don't know. But we were big on releasing consistent episodes, good quality episodes, and improving as we went. And I think we've done that. So, we've been a consistent growth curve. And for us, that's what was important. Was it that we we're viral, mega viral in our first couple months? No. We wanted to grow a consistent fan base. And I think that's what we've done, is kind of found our niche with the right people. So it's taken time and consistency. And, for us, we're lucky enough in a way that we kind of live close enough to each other that we can meet up in person together every few weeks. I'm realizing as time goes on that's, a luxury that a lot of people don't have. A lot of podcasters are podcasting remote. So we get, yeah, exactly. And that's fine. We didn't know any different. We have no idea any other type of situation. So we physically get together every few weeks to record, and we try to do at least one episode per month. Hopefully it stays like that, maybe one every other month, of an overnight investigation, because that's what we felt from the beginning was the most important to us. And that sets us apart from other types of paranormal podcasters, is that we actually go to these places, we spend the time there, we review our evidence, and it takes hours. And we will set up recordings overnight. We'll go to sleep at 1 or 2, 3 in the morning and sleep till 7, and whatever, we'll have each of those 3 or 4 recorders going, and we all review those.
I think that's
fun.
The most exciting thing is that's ultimately why we wanted to do it, is we want to go to these places that people say are haunted, and then give our own spin and say, well, this is the evidence that we caught. I think we've been doing it for 2.5 years, which it relatively is not that long, but for us, that's quite a bit of commitment. And so we go to these places and we want to be like, okay, this is the cool thing that I've caught. And just over the last couple of months, we're like, we don't need to include all the taps and all the cool, the knocks, and which, ultimately is really cool to think about. There's nobody in here, or we're all asleep, but you hear this knock or this tap, which I still think is really cool, but you're ultimately over or chasing after the next biggest thing. So you want to hear the EVP, you want to hear the disembodied voices with your own ears, you want to actually see something on camera. I think we're chasing the next biggest thing. And so while we do have some of our episodes are about true crime stories or about cryptids, which we quite enjoy, including Bigfoot here. We like to talk about normal things, but we also like to review what we got whenever we went to these haunted locations.
Those are for sure our favorite episodes.
Those are our favorite.
Yeah. And I was and you answer. I was going to ask you a question. How often do you put up your podcasts and stuff like that? But what I would like you to do is to do a few more lives on Parapost Network site.
Yes. Okay. So we haven't mastered the live situation, and like I've mentioned, we're learning as we go. So
you did well the first time you went up. It was a lot of fun the first time you went up.
Yeah, we try. It's a balance, right? Because you don't want to spend your entire investigation on live. But also you want to put stuff out there for people to actually be there with you and enjoy. So we're finding that balance. We're trying to figure out what people want to see. So yeah, any feedback we would definitely welcome, for sure.
You know what I think? I think that is an excellent segue to show some clips. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
I think so.
Sounds good.
While I'm setting up that, Lex, if you want to do your thing, and then while I'm setting that up, and we'll get to the first video. How's that?
Yeah, I don't know what "do my thing" means. I have no idea.
Well,
I believe it's your question.
Do your thing.
The next question.
My big question's at the end, so this is.
Okay. How about a small question?
My big question is what I was going to say.
Well, I'll ask this little question for you both.
Okay.
Because it's one of mine and Bryan's favorite ones. while he's setting up. In terms of equipment usage in
Mm-hmm.
paranormal investigations, even if you don't use them, what is your favorite piece of equipment in this industry?
So mine's always going to be the cliche, like your body is your best tool. And I just feel like you actually feel the most and sense the most if you have an open mind.
Echoing Bryan.
I'm going to mute myself. Give me a break. I didn't realize it was going to do that. I'm going to mute myself now.
So just your body is your best tool. If you have an open mind, bring your body into it. This is really distracting.
Bryan, it still echoes when you're muted.
It does. It's funny. Well, it's the body.
You know what?
If it's
I
it's actual equipment,
You did.
Yes.
What would you say for actual
equipment? I'm going to hide
Actual
this for now.
equipment. My actual equipment would be the recorder. I love the recorder. It validates so many things, and it's so old school. But in the moment, I have a lot of feelings. I sense. But when I go back and review, if I have that EVP, then it just is so validating to me in the moment. I like anything that can communicate, and that can be very like verbally communicate. Whether
anything
it be,
interactive.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my favorites, but those are also very just like torn apart, and I get it.
So it can
it's
be
hard.
like as basic as a cat ball, like, oh, you
Yeah.
can move that and we can see it with the lights. It can be anything like the
Like
bear
spirit
where
box.
you touch it, or with the REM
Yeah.
pod where you ask them to touch it and it responds. The flashlights, I'm a big fan of the flashlights. I know those are
I like those too.
controversial
I like them too.
in this world, but I'm a big fan of flashlights.
Yeah.
But I'm very
Um,
against flashlights.
Are you? I like them.
It's okay. It's okay. It's
That's okay.
things expanding.
Only because it's so easy to modify them and
Sure.
do
Yeah.
what all the other people are doing. So that's why I don't use them.
I get
Yeah.
that. So the only and I was on that team, except we were in Belvoir Winery, which is in Liberty, Missouri, and we were in the old. It's a like an old folks, an Odd
nursing
Fellows
home.
asylum.
Yeah, it's an Odd Fellows asylum.
It's their own secret society, but they had an old folks home, and so we were there, and we were told, oh, they like to play with, like, dance to Frank Sinatra. They're just a bunch of old folks who like to dance, and that's great. And so we put on some Frank Sinatra, and these flashlights lit up to the beat of this Frank Sinatra song, and that was the most exciting thing that has ever happened as far as flashlights. And so that's why I get more excited about them these days. We also like the Phasma box.
Yeah, I was gonna say we do try to keep it consistent with the flashlights, and we set them up everywhere we go. And sometimes we'll get nothing.
Yes.
Sometimes they are just like dead. We're like, these are dumb. Why do we even set these up? And then, we have like Velisco, where we just went to a month ago, and we set those up, and they were just all night. I mean, in correlation with other things. I think that's the other thing. You don't just typically use them by themselves. You
Right.
use them with other things. So when they go off together, then you feel like it's extra validating for what you're feeling in the moment.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree. So why don't we do this? This
Sure.
one is the start. It just gives the image of, I think it was 355.
That's probably McIntyre. I think I saw it pull up.
So yeah, that is there's a hallway, and this is the one that I went, okay, interesting.
But there's a flashlight in this video. Yeah. Then I'm off.
No flashlight.
No flashlights.
I don't think.
Not in this one. I think there's a couple other that we sent that there's a flashlight, but
Yeah.
I'll just power through that. So I
can
think
just ignore the
I think it's
flashlights.
the one with McIntyre,
Yeah.
and McIntyre Villa is in Atchison, Kansas. So it's the lesser known of the two main haunted locations in Atchison, Kansas.
Yeah.
In our personal opinion, McIntyre Villa is where it's at, and it's just this. It's this beautiful mansion that has been kept very well. It's got some sinister history, but also just some basic Midwest history. But it has given us some of our better evidence, I
Yep.
would say.
Cool. Okay, so let's get this up here. I'll put myself on mute, even though it doesn't seem to be working. So yeah, I'll do that.
So cool. We did that.
Yeah, that's us. That's us in the background.
Thank goodness for subtitles. So right where that camera is are actually two very old dolls that are pretty creepy. And so Stephanie, who owns McIntyre Villa, she had told us that the door opens sometimes, and at the end of that hall, she hears a screaming on her recorder. And so we're like, okay, cool. Well, I'd like to catch that for myself to actually believe it. And so I was actually very shocked. So whenever we first went there, she was showing us lots of evidence. I was like, well, that's very exciting. I hope that we can catch something like that because, you know, if it's not ours, we're not really going to show it to the rest of the world. And so just to catch that scream of all things is pretty enticing. And then the footsteps, it's just really strange, the progression. So you can hear us go downstairs and then it's an old mansion from the 1800s, and so there's doors to every single area of the house, and so we shut the door to the kitchen, and so we're essentially on the other area of the house, and you just hear these really close-up footsteps.
Yeah, they sound like they're going straight up to the attic, which is the stairway right next to where that camera is. It goes straight up to the attic, and that's exactly what it sounds like, is the wood creaking up to the attic.
The footsteps are really, really super cool and
Yes.
very, very loud.
Yeah.
I was at an abandoned church, and I had the camera set up in a corner of the main room so you could see the whole room. Well, you can clearly hear me and my friend in another room, and then all of a sudden we heard footsteps, and it actually sounded like it was walking on wet carpet.
Oh.
And what the really strange thing is about that is the carpet wasn't wet. It was completely dry. And all of a sudden you just hear these footsteps like somebody's walking on wet carpet. It was so cool. I don't know what it is about catching footsteps, but I
agree.
love catching footsteps.
I love catching footsteps. I think that is so cool.
Amazing. It's amazing. So let's go to the let me just get rid of this one. Let's go to the I'm just going to it. There was this one right above it. And this one, I like this one. This is the one where you have the camera pointing towards the stairs.
I'll have to see it. See which one I sent you.
Pull it up. And it's the flag on top of the stairs. You can actually see something.
Oh, that's a squirrel cage.
Squirrel cage jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's very cool.
It's very, very cool. Just let me put myself on.
Yeah, you should have heard me freaking out in real time. It was a lot.
So with this one, you're going to be looking at the top of those stairs, and we make it real easy. Yellow window is the yellow window. The white is the flag. The black moment is a shadow.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can see the flag moving.
We tried so hard to debunk this for probably a full hour.
Shadow.
Mhm. Now, what I will tell you is we sent you the video. We sent you the video, and what you can't hear is the recordings that we got that we put into the episode from that night, where we hear footsteps again all night that kind of correlate with those shadows that we were catching. And I was like freaking out in a very excited kind of a way. I was the
What are
next
your
level. I was
thoughts?
like, do you see these?
Yeah. When I saw that, I was going, oh, that's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Lex?
So for the most part, I was like, well, it's just still the flag, but then it's just before the singing bit, which I definitely heard. I heard the singing thing, so that's definitely creepy and stuff. And then you see the flag come down as the shadow meets it,
Right.
and they pass. And I was like, oh shit, no, there's something walking around up in that room.
Yes.
Because for the whole time, because it's on the way the camera is and how video is, because it compresses. So the worst thing
Right.
about video compression is it can blend. And so that's why I was sitting there, I was like, it's definitely the flag all the way through. And then it was just when I saw the flag here move, but then the shadow comes across at the same time, I was like, no, there's two. There's the flag, and then there's something moving around it. So that's very interesting. And the singing, and then you said there's footsteps as well.
Right.
On the audio recordings, that's definitely a good catch. I probably wouldn't even have spotted that on my edit. Not gonna lie, it's a very good catch.
Well, we saw it in real time actually, and that's why we recorded it, because I kept seeing all these shadows going by, which I thought was the flag, but then I'd see the flag, and I'm like, wait, that's not the flag. And I was like, well, maybe it's the flag casting shadows. I tried to do that whole thing too, but it just wasn't making sense in my mind. And so the more we captured it, the more we realized.
Well, I was also thinking of it as well. I was like, how big of a shadow in a room would a flag cast if it's moving around slightly? It wouldn't cover the entire door frame in a shadow.
Right.
So that was the other thing. And I was like, well, there's definitely something bigger than the flag in there.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. I mean, I would love to have seen that in real time.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
if
very
I
cool.
there, it would have been really cool. Yeah.
We spent a
let's
good,
go.
I don't know, an hour trying to debunk that. Like
At
she said,
least.
like we had the video pointing up there, and I was like, surely no way this is just that easy to catch a shadow on camcorder. And so we're usually the most excitable of the two, and Lindsay's like, well, actually, I think it's the wind. Actually, I think it's this. And God bless her, because she kind of keeps us grounded.
Keeps us level.
But it just kept happening, and I was like, is this really the flag? And then, like you said, like you can see the flag move, but then the shadow moves in a different or similar direction to where you're like, well, that can't be a shadow of the flag. That's something different. And it's just baffling. It's one of our favorite pieces of evidence.
Good news though, we're going back next month in September. So it's just the three of us. We'll have the whole place to ourselves overnight.
Nice. Put a camera
That's
in there.
awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
No, definitely a good one.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're going to put the camera in the same spot.
Yes,
Absolutely.
definitely.
So I have orb from the left hallway next.
It's also in Squirrel Cage.
Probably.
It's it's the same. So Squirrel Cage Jail is only 3 of its kind. It's like a what do you call that?
Lazy Susan.
A Lazy Susan
It is.
jail. They can just spin them around.
There's one opening, and they spin each cell around to that opening, and then that person can go out, but everybody else is stuck.
It sounds barbaric,
Yeah.
which it kind of is.
Yeah.
But at the front of the Lazy Susan jail are actual rooms, and so
Mhm.
we were in the doctor's quarters.
Mhm.
And Sarah and I are both nurses, and we know that maybe not so much lately, not so much these days, but back in the day, doctors and nurses, nurses just had to kind of give it all to doctors.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
we
Now
were
I
being
know which
kind
one.
of we were being kind of
We were being a lot. You'll
a
hear.
little
We're like, oh,
facetious
doctor,
with
can
it.
we
Oh,
do
hey,
anything?
doctor, do you want us to help you? But while we were being
I do.
exactly, and so while we were doing that, you can see this orb just like making its way around the room, and then you have the flashlight go on, which may or may not be anything, depending on if you're Lex or not, or also the REM pod was going off,
Yeah.
and it was just pretty exciting.
A lot of
Okay, so
things. It was a
before
cool room.
Before you play it, Brian, I'll say this. If the REM pod and the flashlight go off together,
Mhm.
I'll accept that. That's good.
We like two things at once. Yeah.
You have to convince me that this orb is relevant evidence. Because I dismiss all orbs.
I sent a couple different things. This is from. Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Luckily, you can't hear us.
Being obnoxious.
Yeah. So we're.
That's a REM pod. You can barely hear it.
Oh, the screenshot.
Go ahead, Lex. Thoughts?
The flashlight's cool.
Oh.
When that turns on.
I'm sorry, what?
It is visually a good thing to look at, to be fair. I don't dismiss that. It does look cool when it works. I just don't trust other people doing it. That's the thing. That's the thing with that.
Sure. Yeah.
The orb, on the other hand, it wouldn't convince me.
Fair.
That's okay.
Orbs are,
Because in a building like that, you're gonna dust particles, anything like that would have done the same movement. So I wouldn't have used it personally. But with that, the flashlight and the REM pod stuff, then I can see why you did, because it is really cool altogether.
Yeah.
But if you didn't have the flashlight or the REM pod and it was just the orb, I would have dismissed that clip. So
right.
But the other bits are really cool. I like the flashlights because it's visually good to see.
Yeah.
But I just don't like them because I know how people fake them. So that's why I personally don't have a thing against them. So I'm not going to have it against you for using them.
That's fair.
We're not really. I mean, we're very smart girls, but we're not smart enough to fake a flashlight. So don't tell me how to do it.
Don't tell me how to fake it.
I'm very intrigued that people can fake those things.
Yeah, you can do it without a computer.
Oh, I wouldn't.
I'll be honest.
It's cool though.
I don't even know how to fake doing a flashlight.
So, Brian, you take the flashlight, and depending which one it is, you get this bit, and you just you twist it out so the circuit isn't fully touching, and then every now and then the circuit will connect, and it will turn the light on, and then randomly it will just turn the light off, and because it's just doing this, and that's how they do it.
You
on,
weren't
on
supposed
twisty
to tell
ones.
us.
Well, now I know. Now
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
you
do
weren't
it every
supposed to
time.
tell us.
But the audience knows that I call them out. I will say how it's done so they know how to watch out for it. So, but no, that's one of them. But
Yeah.
no, I think the clip itself is really cool. I think jails are really good places to do those kinds of
Yeah.
things because they're old and there's a lot
Well,
of misery in them.
you
so.
did say before we showed that clip, if the REM pod and the flashlight were going off at the same time, then you would.
I would.
would
There's more
be- and
there's
they were.
validation of the flashlight
Yeah.
there. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's what
Yeah.
I mean. So like when you have the two, that's why I like the fact you said you use it with other stuff
Right.
more than using it by itself.
Right.
Because it's a lot harder to make a flashlight go off when you want it to,
Sure.
as well as a REM pod without touching it. So I think so the two together work really well.
Yeah.
And like I said, I like the clip. It's cool. But this is all in this industry.
It's totally
Everyone
fair.
hates something, yeah. So
No, it's fine. Yeah. No, I get it. And
So
we almost never lose
just blame
them.
just blame some of the famous residents of Florida for why I don't like flashlights.
Okay, done.
So
Yeah.
let's show one more.
Okay.
And this one, we are looking. Well, I'll put it up on screen so you can see what it is. Let me just get to this.
Get ready for the echoes, guys.
Yes,
I
get
know.
ready. Please,
Try
everyone,
not to
please
speak
be
over it.
quiet.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
That fail.
So from where I'm from, I can't hear it at all, but I know exactly what clip I sent to you. It was from the night vision camera at Vale Mansion, and you can hear us in the next room. And in between our talking, there is a whisper next to the camera, and that is what we seem to find the most on the cameras is audio clips, and it's very hard to convert those to like social media because people actually have to like turn on their sound and like turn it up. But that's what we find the most on these is audio clips. And so in between us talking, you can hear a whisper, which we think is a woman saying, "Hey, I'm cold."
I heard the hey,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't hear what it said after. I'd have to go through it a couple of times to.
Sure.
Did you
Yeah.
hear the hey, Lex?
I might have. I heard someone laugh, so I'm assuming that's one of you two.
Yeah, that's us. And that's what I'm saying. Like from where I'm listening, I can't hear it.
Yeah.
But when I listen to it on my own computer, I can hear it. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely heard the hey, but I wasn't sure what, and it was like a hey.
Yeah.
It was hey, and I didn't hear what it said afterwards. I would have to,
Sure.
turn it up and put it in the software, the editing software, and so I can turn it full blast and really catch what it was saying.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very cool. I will, if I had a choice, my favorite one was the very first one.
Yeah.
It's just,
McIntyre.
it's something about the footsteps and the
Yeah.
scream and the everything like that. It's just really, really, really compelling. And
Sure.
and you can actually hear the footsteps. It's like it's walking right past the camera, because we all heard you go downstairs. We heard you close the door, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. It's like, it's just really, really super cool. So, talking about the places that you've been, what has been your favorite place up to this point, on all your investigations?
You go first.
I just by default can't ever pick a number one. It's always got to be like a top 5 or a top 3. And I really love McIntyre, where we heard the scream and the footsteps. I that's where I've been scared the most. and I don't usually get super scared. Like, it's always like, oh, this doesn't feel great, but I've never been terrified like I was terrified there. I love Malvern Manor in Malvern, Iowa. I think there's a special kind of something in that location that I have no idea what it is. There's other places like Belvoir Winery in Liberty, Missouri, where we've actually heard disembodied voices, and luckily we had a recorder going to catch that as well. But just to hear something with your own ears, not something that you're listening back to on audio weeks later, that's very exciting. And then finally, Missouri State Pen, the penitentiary here in Missouri. Sarah and I, we have the same name. So it's always a fight like, oh, were they saying my name or were they saying your name? And it's always like whenever you were a kid and you were talking into a fan and you had that reverb, somebody had that reverb as they were saying our name. And so those are kind of
a fan.
Yeah, those are my, top 4. We'll go with top 4. I'll limit it to 4.
You got it. I think when you go into places and you're introducing yourself, you should introduce yourself as Sarah 1 and Sarah 2.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
I swear to every almighty in the world, right? If you went into a place on your next investigation and you get back your name with a number,
okay,
I will give you like £1 million.
Okay, guess what? We're going to Squirrel Cage next month. So
I don't know what that equates to in the U.S. dollar.
I know, right?
I'll take it.
Doesn't matter. It's a bet.
You got to be careful when you say that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because if it happens,
it's about $1.7 million.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Get ready.
Give or take.
My favorite place thus far has been Malvern. We've been twice. The first time we went was my favorite, but also the scariest place I've been to. And we've stayed several places overnight and we do fine. We stay up all night. We have a great time. Sometimes we laugh. Sometimes we investigate. We just try to balance it out. This time was different. I don't know what happened to me. I felt different that night, especially going to bed. I felt terrible, like heart racing, felt like somebody was watching over me at all time. I could not fall asleep. I just felt anxious. I didn't fall asleep. At one point I thought I was going to have to go sleep out in the car, but I didn't. I finally like gave up at 7 and just waited for everybody to wake up and went home from there. Luckily that didn't happen the second time that we went back. So I don't know what that was. I just had this overwhelming sense of anxiety and fear in that location, that I've never had in any other very scary locations that we've been to. I mean, we've stayed overnight at some pretty big name places, Missouri State Pen, Villisca, Oddfellows. We try to go at Sally House, just the 3 of us. So we try to go to all these places. That place, for some reason, had me all messed up. And so the other place for me was Villisca. And I know that's a big name, but I really felt connected to that place for whatever reason. I don't know if it was the murders that had taken place there. It just was so heart-wrenching to be in that tiny of a location. And Villisca is very small. I don't know if you've ever actually been there, but it's a tiny, tiny little house. And there's no safe zone escaping from usually when we go overnight, we try to pick one spot that we can sleep and go back to every once in a while. This was not that case. Like every area had been affected by those murders and you just could not escape it. And it just felt like extremely overwhelming and sad overnight. So that part was a little bit hard. I know Lindsay would probably say Missouri State Pen, that's her favorite place. She loves going to the jails and Squirrel Cage. Yeah. That's her favorite.
Jails are amazing. I don't know what it is about jails, but
they're very cool.
It's definitely a hit or miss on
for sure.
Jails, but there's a jail that I've been up to in my area. It's about 4.5 hours, 5 hours outside of Toronto, and that place is great. I've captured. It's mainly been EVPs on the camera, microphone.
Yeah, same with us.
The SB7, which is my preference of I guess ghost equipment. I just love the SB7.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like it because of the and I get that,
like it
but
too.
I've captured so much evidence off the SB7 SB7 that it's been incredible. And I was in the UK for a month investigating with Lex, and we hit 11 places.
Wow.
And, you know, I even think that I turned Lex onto the SB7 because of some of the responses that we were getting. It's just incredible.
It's
Yeah.
hard-
Jails,
it's hard for me to
I'm
get
with-
one in this country.
It is, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it
they're-
really?
Yeah, they're priced out like ridiculous. Like, I looked on like Amazon the other day for one in this country. It was going to cost me £540.
We'll just
And
send
I
you
was
one.
like, no.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
how does that work if like
It's not as much here, I feel
Brian
like.
can buy one and then ship it to you?
Yeah.
I have one I could send you.
There you go. See?
Problem solved.
There you go.
Because I don't want to use Necrophonic anymore. It's made by that fucking Steve Puff, whatever his name is. Huff.
Yeah. Have you used? How do you feel about? Was it Phasmobox? Have you used Phasmobox?
No, but who makes it?
I got crickets.
You know, I don't know. The only reason why we like it a little better is
Hang
just
on,
because
hang
of
on.
that. You
Let me
know,
have a look for you. Hang on one second. It's Phasma.
And-
I've
because
never,
it doesn't
I've never used
use Bluetooth or Wi-Fi,
yes.
so it's supposed to eliminate that aspect
it.
of it.
Interesting.
Oh,
It's been-
is it on the phone or is it an actual product?
It's
Oh, it's an app on like a Microsoft tablet.
you have to use Microsoft.
It's very
yeah.
specific.
Yeah.
When you use it, do you have to give it permissions?
No,
When
I
you
think
first
so.
use it?
I don't know. It's been a while. I don't
I'm gonna
think
have to
so.
fi-
Yeah,
I'm gonna
let
have
us
to
know
find
what you
out.
think. Yeah, if you look it
If I
up.
find out, because I'm doing this for someone else as well that's been on our
Okay.
show before, they're making me look into these apps because I go into the back of them and
Yeah.
work out how they work. So like GhostTube SLS, I debunked it heavily.
Okay.
Oh.
So Necrophonic, I found out, was made by Steve Huff, who's the
Mhm.
biggest fraud in the industry. So
Nice.
never using it again.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll definitely
Yeah.
take a look at Phasmobox. It
Yeah,
sounds
definitely
cool.
let us know.
Absolutely, let us know, please.
Yeah, we don't want to use things that are debunked, obviously.
How is it possible that you go on Amazon and the SB7 is $500? That is
Because,
absolutely
because-
ridiculous. Did you go to
because
Ghost Stop? Go to Ghost Stop.
Okay, how much is it going to cost me on there now? Let's have a look at how much.
I
it
think
cost
it's
me.
I think it's
500.
125. I think it's 125 on Ghost Stop,
Let me have a look.
which in yours would probably be about 170. Well, maybe
That's
not
a
that
bit.
much. Maybe
that might be a
140.
bit better. Oh, they've got the
A
yes,
bit,
no premium.
like a lot.
Yeah. Or you can have it
Uh,
free.
It's not even.
Yeah,
on...
or that.
No, I don't want that one.
Ghost Stop has it.
I know. I'm on Ghost Stop. I can't find this thingy majiggy though.
Yeah. Well,
I'll have a look at it. But anyway, yeah, it was expensive when I was looking for it.
I'll just send you the one that I have. For God's
There you
sake.
go.
Jesus.
Sounds like he's got a couple. I think he'd be all right.
I do have a couple. Actually, my old editor, he wasn't using his anymore, Zach, and he said, "You want it?" I said, "Sure." What was it going to say? No.
Yeah, absolutely not.
No, no. Of course, I don't want that.
Yeah.
SB7 for free and save myself $125.
Right.
No, it's all good. So we are winding down to the very last question here. And obviously, Lex has had a little bit of time to think about this.
Oh,
I
boy.
think for some reason, I think it's going to involve alcohol. And
How
just,
dare you make assumptions?
but yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to actually hear what he's going to say. Like I am
Okay.
every time we get to.
We'll
this
do our
question.
best. Give it a go.
Okay.
Okay,
Action.
focus.
Seized.
Yes.
Right.
Ready.
So let's say that you were filming your investigation in the squirrel cage, and all of you had about 10 shots too many,
Never been
And-
there. Don't know what you're talking about.
and smashed up all of your equipment by accident. Not only that, but burnt the place down in a drunken rage.
Oh,
And you didn't know
no.
what to do.
That's
So you
vicious.
contacted
Terrible
Brian.
guess.
You contacted Brian. You contacted Lex, and we were like, "Look, we're fans. We'll bail you out. We'll give you all the money in the world
Okay.
if you just renounce the use of flashlights online, and you can investigate any way you'd like." And in doing so, you said, "Yes, Lex, we would do that." And then you took that money. Where would you go in the world to investigate?
Wow, that was long.
Wow, that was a roundabout version. Yes, I got it.
I used the whole conversation.
You
That's a
really
stretch.
listened to every detail. I like it.
I've been taking notes on my phone of key
Well
things
done,
to remember.
well
That's
done.
why.
I mean, I've got a whole list of places, you know, in the States, like Eastern State Penitentiary, Waverly would be great. The Queen Mary on, you know, the West Coast, Pavaglia,
Pavilia. Oh, for
yeah,
God's sake.
here we are. I would, anything that's a castle or an old sanitarium, I would love to go to. The older, the better.
Yeah, I'm a big geek for history. Honestly, that's what really is a big factor in me, like researching all these places. I love that's my favorite part. And then the paranormal history leads into it. So, like, I love that. Gettysburg would be amazing. Although I know that it's hard to like factor in outside elements. So, that being said, I'd love to go there. I recently went to DC, loved every minute of like Ford's Theater, Abe Lincoln, the whole bit. We're going to Salem in October, as
Oh, that's
cliche
cool.
as that might sound. I'm
Yeah, that's
absolutely excited
That's
about
cool.
that.
We're going to a goal place in October that we haven't
Yes.
announced yet, but it is a big name.
Definitely
and
on our
we are
list.
very excited about it.
Might start with con, end with during.
Well, I don't want to end the show with you girls and going, God damn it, that Bryan guy. But I am going to Gettysburg on the 27th
See?
of
Nice.
September. And there is a person in the room right now.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Matt Barron. He's with Paranormal Consultant. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yes.
But he's actually putting on an event on the 26th and the 27th. It's called Para-Unity Day.
Okay. Yeah.
And the first day on the 26th is the fair. That is going to be, everybody can come. The second day is going to be the investigation, which is going to be at Gettysburg.
Oh man.
Nice.
So, and
That
I
is
know
so
Matt.
exciting.
I know Matt would kill me if I didn't mention that, and mention to that because it is an open invitation.
Awesome.
If you're interested, it would be fabulous to meet you both.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of different teams there on the first day, and then the second day, obviously Gettysburg. But after that, I'm going to Bob Mackey's on the 28th.
Oh, nice.
Oh, we didn't say that. That's one of our top ones
Definitely
too.
on there too.
Yeah, and on the 24th, I'm going to the Ohio Reformatory,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
which is with Angelina and Christina from Bad to the Bone Paranormal,
Right.
if you're familiar with them. So, not to make you girls jealous. But
Oh, we're
I'm
jealous,
going
yeah.
We're very
there.
jealous.
I do have one more question for you, though.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's not just you. It seems to be every group of Americans we put on this show.
Oh
When
gosh.
we offer you all the money in the world,
I
Yeah,
why
know.
do you
say
stay
this.
in the States?
I know. She picked Pavilia. Okay. I just
did
didn't get
pick-
to mine.
That's part of Italy, isn't it?
Yeah, Pavilia
I
is-
went
Okay, one of them
across
was
the-
off. Yeah,
the
one of
sea.
them was.
I didn't finish, but I can't be specific enough is my problem. I would love to go to any haunted castle that is not in the United States, whoever that may be, preferably Germany, if there's any, because I've been working on my German language. So if I can go
Oh,
over there
cool.
and
Well, you
For
definitely
fun.
want to hit the. You definitely want to hit the UK.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
and Lex did 11 investigations over 14 days.
that's awesome.
And we went to a lot of cool places.
Wow.
And one of the places that I went to, and Sarah just came into the room, who's from Portal to the Paranormal, that was with us on these investigations. Not this one, but my top one in the UK was Sherwood Forest.
Interesting.
And it was very, very, very cool. And
Nice.
and we Lex got a beautiful capture on the SB7.
What?
That was really, really super cool. Now, if you know any of the history, obviously the history is with Robin Hood,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of people don't know this as well. But it's also the Vikings had settled there as well.
It was
Nice.
in
the,
the
one of
Sherwood
the
Forest.
one of the first settlements on our shore was in the Sherwood Forest. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
And
Cool.
Lex was asking a question, and it was I can't recall the
I know it.
question. Yeah. go
So,
ahead.
so the other two in the group were constantly asking about the heroes and villains of the Robin Hood story,
Mhm.
and I thought, well, they're not getting any responses to it, so I just went, "Are you one of the original settlers from the Viking camp that's down the hill?" And without hesitation, it said, "Yeah, of course." Like
Wow.
really clear as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was really
So
cool.
that was
That's awesome.
It definitely a good place to go to. But Lex doesn't know this yet, but I'm bringing this to his. Well, I'll bring it to his attention after the show. Well, maybe I can say it. So the plan is maybe next year, the following year, that me and Patty from the G Team Paranormal are coming to England
Wow.
to do
Oh.
investigations.
Couldn't get enough of me the last time, could you, Brian?
We'll invite ourselves.
No,
we want to come along.
We'll just show up,
You know
okay?
what? You know what?
You won't mind.
No, Lex, I didn't get enough of you. I need more. And no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we're either planning it for next year or the following year. That should
that's
be.
cool.
And this time I want to hit some castles.
Oh,
I'd really love to
absolutely.
hit
The
castles.
good thing is because the reason why I couldn't get any for the tour was because I didn't know how. I thought all of us were going to be touring the country together, and the castles wouldn't let a massive group like that into them because I have to pay like $1,000 per person. Whereas if I can get a hold of the owners of the castles or the landowners with just 3 or 4 of us, then it should be easier to get in with enough notice.
Yeah. So before I let you go, obviously you saw the video at the beginning of
Yeah.
the Global Ghost Hunt. Are you guys going to consider joining the Global Ghost Hunt?
We were
You
talking
thinking
about it.
You're
We're
talking
definitely
about
thinking
it?
about it. It's a matter of schedules for us.
Yeah. So we really hope that you're going to consider it.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
I would love to see you girls there, and if you want to get your name out, this is going to be one of the ways to do it because it is going to go global. So,
Yes. Awesome.
but I want to thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're back, and I'm glad I had you girls on our first show back. It was a lot of fun. And keep doing your thing. You girls are doing wonderful things. I can see pretty big things for you when it comes to your podcast for sure.
Thank
The
you.
investigations with the flashlight, you might want to cut back on that. But no.
Never. You can pry him from my cold dead hands, Lex.
I'm just kidding. But I want to say my thank yous for coming on today's show, and Parapost Network Central.
Yes.
Get those live
Yes.
investigations on there. But
Thank you so much for having us. We
Thank
really
you very
appreciate it.
much. Yes.
Yeah. And Lex, you want to say anything, or
Yeah, it's just been
because you've
really-
already said way too much.
Well, yeah,
especially
but
with-
again, as we had this discussion, the sound of my voice is awesome. So,
It is.
how arrogant did I sound then? Jesus.
It's true,
Brit-
though. Anybody
being
with an
British-
accent,
you
you
know,
win
you
all
know.
the Americans over.
Yeah.
See,
Okay, move
I
on.
love
Let's go
love
on.
being British. Anyway, no, I was going to say it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you guys, and thank you again for coming on and making the start of the August campaign of this show a great start. It's a phenomenal start. And I want to confirm, I've just gone on and done all your links on us to make sure that I didn't know you had Twitter, so
Yes.
I didn't tag you in it when I put the post up for today.
That's
But
okay.
I have done it on the thank you one,
Thank
so
you.
when that comes through, you'll see it. But I just wanted to say that, yeah, it has been a really good pleasure to have you on here. I hope you do come to the Ghost Hunt,
Yeah.
become a part of that. And I'm looking forward to seeing whatever stuff you come up with next. But definitely a hunt. Well, and I'm going to check your podcast out because I need something to listen to at work. So that's going to be cool. And lastly, you need to go out and get me the Sarah 1, Sarah 2 on a EVP.
Yes.
And I'll,
Consider it
get,
done.
and I'll give you $1.7 million.
It's our life's mission now.
It's
But
on.
you guys seem great, and hopefully we can get you back on down the road, and hopefully we can get your third. Was it Lindsay? Sorry.
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
mhm.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get all 3 of you on next
Yes.
time, and
Yeah.
see what happens, and talk to you guys again. Have a good conversation. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it.
Have a great rest of the afternoon.
Okay.
Thank
You
you.
too. Bye.
Okay, bye. Wow. That was fun.
It was,
That was a
very
lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. And what a great return. What a great first show to come back to. And obviously we'll be back next week. Did you like what I did with the thumbnail this time? Do you like the can be found on?
Yeah, I
Do
did
you like that? Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. I was going, should I put like can be found on or follow us on?
Yeah.
I think for me personally, I always think follow us or follow me is always very presumptuous. I don't know why. It just when,
No, I don't know why either.
Are you being serious, or are you just like?
No, I was
don't
trying.
know.
I was trying to style out a cough I was getting out. I wasn't laughing at you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I figured as much, but I don't know. So I figured can be found. You don't see that too often, so
No, I
we're
think that's
different.
the other thing. Everyone says follow me, follow me, follow me. So it's definitely different to say can be found at because we are on multiple platforms now.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it makes
Have you
sense.
ever thought? Have you thought about us going on to like? Because I can obviously I can download the audio from Melon and actually put it up on like a Spotify or something like that.
But I was gonna say I have bought this to you before on this show.
Did you?
Yeah, we've spoken about it before. We said it could be something we could do in the future because we do have 70 plus episodes or 70 episodes now that we
And
could
I
just
have
put
all
onto,
the episodes in Melon.
yeah, so we could just upload the audio onto podcasts of people that can't watch the videos. 'Cause I know that a lot of people tune into our show while they're at work and they miss a lot of stuff. And what they could do then is the next time they're free or they're doing work again, is they can just listen to it.
Yeah. So what do you
through
do?
that,
What
so-
do you do with when the shows that we had video clips on? What do you
But
do
then
with
I
those
think
shows?
we just I think if we are going to do audio, then we just explain what's happening in the audio to the people listening at home, and they will and advise that when you finish this, like come and watch the clip, and then you'll see what we're on about. But if we just explain the clip, because I watch and listen to a lot of podcasts that do what we do, where they do a video podcast, and then they do clips as well, and they say like to the people who are listening in from home, this is what I'm seeing, this is what we're seeing. And then they get to make that choice because we don't do clips every week anyway, so it could work.
I don't know why it keeps on going really fuzzy. It's staticky. It keeps on going really staticky for me at my end. It's weird. I just turned off earlier in the show when it was really bad. I turned these things on and it stopped and started again. I turned them off.
Weirdly, when you did that, only this headphone of mine worked.
Oh.
It was weird. It just all the sound cut into one headphone, and I was like, "The hell's going on?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
strange.
this is I was thinking the same because people do listen to them while at work or driving, and that was from Sarah, from Portal to the Paranormal. I think
Yeah.
it's something we definitely need to discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And Spotify or wherever.
I just have to find out what the rules are with how you talk on podcasts on Spotify and stuff because obviously I cuss people out.
Yeah, well, I don't think I've heard other podcasts and they swearing and stuff like that. And
Oh, and the swearing's not the issue. It's the sometimes obviously when I have something to say and I name and shame people.
well,
when
then
I
we
have
just
to.
don't put those episodes up.
Or we just can cut those little bits of audio out, really. We could
Yeah,
easily
I
just
guess.
cut
I
that bit.
guess.
I mean,
Well,
I
we
only
could-
ever... Actually, no, it's fine. Fuck it.
We could
If
go
I
on.
if I do it, we'll just won't put the episode onto a
I don't
audio.
know what's going on here. Why this is happening? There always seems to be something going on with this.
Yeah, but how good is it? It's the end of the show that we're having technical faults.
Yes,
Not
but
the
still,
beginning.
it shouldn't have it at all. I
No,
don't
we
know
have done
why
this
it's
for over a
happened.
year now, so we should be better at this.
Yeah. Well, when this is up, I'm gonna just move over to StreamYard, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a few other ones that are out that have come out recently that seem quite good. So maybe go over to those. We can actually even do it through Zoom,
Yeah.
which could be cool.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be. Anyways, I want to say thank you to everyone that came in the show today. We really appreciate it. We saw all the comments. I will say there's some comments we don't see, and I apologize if we didn't respond to them. And to answer Irene's question earlier in the show, you do not need to have a paranormal investigation team to be with the Global Ghost Hunt. If you want to go out and investigate on your own, you can do that. It's completely up to you. We do, I think there is somebody I know that's going to be signing up that doesn't have a team, and he's going to do it on his own, and there's nothing wrong with it. We just need you to be safe while you're doing it. So make sure when you are doing a location on your own, make sure people that you know they know where you are, so if something happens, Of course, we'll see it on the live as well. So if you're able to go live, if something happens, but if you can get a team together, great. If you can get somebody to go out with you for the evening, that would be amazing too. But you can definitely join up if you don't have a group. I do want to put out there also, if you have a location, if you own a location, you can sign up too. Just because you don't have a team doesn't mean you can't be a part of this. You can find yourself a team, or if there happens to be a team that we know, we can hook you guys up and you can work together for sure. But there's a lot of new things coming up on the Global Ghost Hunt site. As people know, Barry Fitzgerald is with us. He is our spokesperson and coordinator. There will be a video going up of him soon on the website, and hopefully the sign-in for the website will start as soon as I don't know exactly the date it's going to start, but hopefully that starts soon, and you can sign up to the site and actually go into the site. And it's, from what I understand, and I've said this before, it sounds like it's going to be interactive, so you're going to be able to speak to everybody. So we'll definitely find that out soon when that is going up. But I just want to say my thank yous again for coming and watching us and the Tipsy Ghost, Sarah 1 and Sarah 2. We really, really appreciate it. And if you can share this out, that would be great, so other people can find out about the Tipsy Ghost. So again, everybody, thank you so much for coming and watching today's show, and have a great afternoon.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.